Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to walk you through about the steps and tasks of the Intune administrator basically, right? So now you might be saying, okay, why do I need to create a video or why do I need to know the steps of Intune administrator or Intune administrator who is actually working on different activities, different tasks, right? And what are those tasks? Those would be performed on day-to-day basis as well as depends on the a kind of on-demand tasks, right? Whichever comes on the basis of needs, basically, right? Whether it is an urgent need, whether it is a priority work that needs to be done by the respective team, and you are a part of Intune or Intune team or device management or application management and deployment and everything, and you are also working with in collaboration with the security team. Enter team as an identity provider, they do have a lot of things to do from the identity side, and you are a part of bits and pieces, right? Because you would be working with identity team, you would be working with applications team, you would be working with different teams altogether, wherever the teams are expecting you to be supporting the device management, as well as there are different other workloads as well where uh, let's say there is a requirement for internal project team or internal product team where the external or third party vendor is going to do the assessment of your IT infrastructure, right? And now you as an Intune admin or Intune Pro, you would be working with them in order to provide them the evidences of security assessment, or you would be providing and doing the security assessment of your whole environment, so that you would be working with the internal security team as well as the respective all other different teams, including identity access management security team who actually works on the security implementations and deployments across the organizations. And you as an Intune admin have a lot to work on that side as well, right? And that is why you would also need to be working with other side as well, where that's what I'm going to talk and walk you through around, right? So let me share my screen here quickly and I'll walk you through all those areas where you'll be working as an Intune admin, Intune Pro, with the steps or what are those daily tasks, right? So that is when you would be working on. All right. So you can see this screen and here uh, you can see the daily Intune admin work checklist with the administrative tasks, right? So what is the first one? The first one is just to get into the into the admin portal, log into the dashboard and check if the portal is accessible. Are there any issues? Are there any problems? And you might say, okay, we do this every day and this is a common, right? But still, you got to do that. Without doing that, you won't be able to see what is happening, what is needed, what is not, right? Also, you need to see and get into the service health across Microsoft 365 portal. Check the service and service health for Intune advisories and any incidents are happened or are there, which might be causing any internal or org-wide situations. It could be applications are not working or particular service is down because of the service health or any advisory or any incident that was posted by Microsoft, right? Basically. Then you need to go ahead with the compliance check for the devices and health across the device fleets, right? So starting from non-compliant devices, then device check-ins, and then autopilot deployments. Now, out of these three options or topics here, majorly you would be working on first and second one regularly. But the third option, which is autopilot deployment, that is going to be a kind of on-demand activity or based on the needs whenever you are going to create a brand new autopilot policy and deploy it across the fleet or deploy it across the group of devices and systems, right? And that is why you need to go ahead and do that. But still, you would be also be doing on the same activities where you need to optimize the existing autopilot deployment policies and how you wanted to segregate it for different group of users, different group of teams, right? And basis on that, you would be filtering them. You would be setting up separately so that organizations are not conflicting the policies and the application deployments and everything together, right? And that is why you would also need to know about the autopilot policies and deployments and capabilities of all of that stuff. Then applications monitoring, where you would be seeing and checking, right? What are the applications we are or we have deployed, whether those applications are installed successfully. Are there any failed? Are there any pendings? Why those are failing? What are the issues? What are the reasons? You got to find those scenarios and situations and go ahead and resolve those as well and make sure that application is being installed successfully. Also, you need to make sure those respective applications are approved for deployments and whether you are going to deploy it using company portal or you are going to deploy it directly to the endpoints, right? So that those applications are available for users to use across the business, across the organization. The next is configuration profiles, right? So this is very important and a kind of a scenario, not scenario directly, but the very important capability of Microsoft Intune, where we would be pushing out a different policies with different controls, including what policy should be deployed, whether we wanted to manage browser, whether we wanted to manage any particular setting across the browser, any applications and anything on the endpoints that we wanted to control across the fleet, right? So that we wanted to control them and not to expose on either over the internet or end users should not be doing particular activity, whether they should have admin rights, whether they should not be doing any other activities, right? And that is why, and that is when we would be going ahead and creating different policies and profiles and deploy it across. Similarly, on the script execution, we would go ahead and check the existing script, whether those are running as expected, whether those are failed, what are the reasons, and if yes, those are failing, we should be going ahead and looking into the errors and the scenarios and retest it and then redeploy it again, right? And that is why, and that is when we'll get to know what are the scenarios and reasons it is failing, right? And redeploy it and make sure it is working as expected. Then next is endpoint security. So here you would see and work on endpoint security, antivirus, firewall, disencryption, and whole lot of things, right? So there are so many things and so many policies and configurations that you would be doing. Definitely, and of course, it is going to be in collaboration with the security team as well, where they would have particular configurations requirements and they would come up or end up saying, okay, you got to go ahead and deploy this policy this way so that this policy is going to be deployed. And if they are not going to do, then you got to also do the audit of those policies and implementations and everything as per the org-wide policies that organization is looking after for audit, be it internal or external audit, right? And definitely they would ask you, do let us know or provide the audit report for all of these endpoints, right? Whether those endpoints are disencrypted, firewalls are tightened or applied, antiviruses are up and running and active on those devices, and similarly on threat detection, whether those are also integrated and implemented so that systems and endpoints are safe and secure from the common cyber attacks. Also, you would be working on some of the user issues and support basis on your roles and responsibilities across the organization, right? Basis on how you are interacting, how you are working on the team, whether it is a support team, whether it is a kind of L1, L2 team. And if you are also working on the L2 and beyond, then also you would be working on the tickets because you wanted to know the actual end user pain points, issues, problems, and then you would be resolving or you would be working on those issues to resolve from optimizing the applications, whether it is a system, whether it is a patch, whether it is any configuration or policies, those are deployed, right? Also on the enrollment of devices, whether it is autopilot or whatever it is. So that's also going to be part of your job and roles and responsibility, right? And that is when it is going to be the same that is going to be working with end users and provide them support. Audits and alerts. This is also part of both Intune as well as from Enter ID, and you got to work with both scenarios or from both side, even if you are Intune expert, but you got to work with Entra and IAM or Identity Access Management team to be able to get into the and see audit logs and work on the different scenarios. Not all the scenarios, but definitely there are scenarios where you got to work with them and identify issues and resolve those as well proactively. And alerts and notifications to get notified and understand any issues and problems across Defender Suite, Azure AD, which is Entra ID, of course, and Intune as well, right? And that is when you get to see and you will be working on those scenarios proactively to resolve and make sure everything is up and running for the organization. The next is licensing and user management, right? So licensing is something which is going to be a part of actual maybe different teams. It depends on the organizations. If organization has a separate team for management of user, which is of course IAM team is going to be the one. But it also depends on how organization is assigning licensing, procuring licensing, and everything together, right? And basis on that, you'd also be working on that scenario to make sure user has appropriate license on their endpoints to be able to deploy certain policies, configurations. And if we don't have, if you don't see any appropriate licenses, you got to either reach to the respective team to get those licenses procured, and you'd be assigning those licenses, and then users should have appropriate configurations, and then the endpoints and everything to be managed as expected. At the same time, you'd also be working on some of the common user assignment issues on when it comes to the licensing for Intune and membership of groups and everything together, right? And that is why you would need to make sure users have appropriate licenses, they do have appropriate configurations, and they are part of right set of groups so that whatever the policies you are assigning, those are working as expected, right? So, yep, that is what, or those are different topics, and those are a list of tasks as an admin of Intune and IT Pro you would be going through on a regular basis. And apart from that, there are many other topics as well as I talked and as I discussed beginning of this video, right? So, yep, that is all. Let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, and anything that you wanted to make sure I should be covering in next video or something. I'd be happy to answer those questions and topics to cover up in the next video. And yep, that's all. Thanks for watching and bye for now.